What can we expect?
Shirtless. That's all our joke. We're like, if the scene's not going, we'll just take off your shirt.
Take off my shirt.
Nice.
You can expect a lot of badassery.
Okay.
You can expect a lot of humor. You can expect a lot of heart. You can expect a lot of very dynamic characters who are very complex. Did I miss anything?
A lot of action. a lot of action. A lot of cool fighting. But yes, I think the most important thing is going to be a lot of heart behind all the demons, all the sci-fi, supernatural stuff. There's going to be people that you can relate to, characters that you're going to grow with. And there's a real humanity to the show, and Melanie Scrofano definitely leads the show with that. And it kind of trickles down into our amazing lineup cast. Waverly, played by Dominique, and Doc Holliday, played by Tim Rozon. So, you guys are in for a treat.
Can I just say, to elaborate on that, because I babble, is that Emily, our showrunner, it could have been like a genre, like, just sort of, I don't know, it could have just been all about the Revenants and all about, but this is a story that like, to me, it was always so personal because it's a girl who's fighting, well, all of us, like, it's people fighting their own demons.
Yeah.
And they're actual demons there, but they're people who, they're literally and figuratively fighting their demons. And I think we can all relate to that. And Emily is she's nothing if not heart. So.
Can you give us an introduction to your characters?
Well, I might as well go first. I'm Wynonna Earp. I'm Melanie Scrofano, that's right. I play Wynonna Earp. And Wynonna is Wyatt Earp's great-great-granddaughter, who takes on the family curse, fighting the demons that come back to haunt her.
I'm Shamier Anderson, and I play Agent Xavier Dawes from the highly classified Black Badge Division. He is a man of principle. He's very disciplined in his craft, very passionate about what he does. He kind of falls into this track with Miss Wynonna Earp, where he hears about this kind of the chosen one, the heir, potentially. And so he goes to a town of Purgatory to investigate what's going on. And in his findings, he comes across Wynonna, and they go on this incredible journey where him and her do some things that you're gonna have to watch. Can't give away too much, like censor, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'm always like, shut up.
No.
So how familiar were you guys with the legend of Wyatt Earp? Is it kind of thin? How the impact of that story with your
like
with
the
your version?
actual historical.
Yeah, exactly. Or is it not that affecting, or is it kind of affecting the history of this to the story?
For me personally, to be honest, I wasn't too familiar with it. I mean, everyone knows Wyatt Earp, and the old gunslinger, and Doc Holliday. It's familiar, but as for the origins and going into the roots of where those guys are from, not so much. Not until I started working on this amazing piece and meeting Bo Smith and Emily Andres and just understanding what this story was about. And then I started learning, and now I'm actually a fan.
Yeah, and I don't think that you don't need to know the history of Wyatt Earp or Doc Holliday to watch or to follow this show.
No.
I mean, the basics of, like, you knew who Wyatt Earp was, like, he was, like, that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
What about the comics? How much has that influenced you guys, characters and how you've developed them?
So I was very careful not to lean too heavily into them because I knew that they were trying to create something based on it, but very much Emily was putting her own spin on it. So I was trying not to read too much. I took a lot of the humor with it. That was what I took from it. And there's such different Wynonnas that I was like I can't base too much of it. But she's so funny in the comic book, and that's what I really took away from it mostly.
My character wasn't. My character wasn't really featured. He wasn't at all. Agent Xavier Dawes was actually a new character that Bo Smith created after we got cast. I got cast. So my character was never featured in any of the comic books. So it was kind of cool for me where I'm originating this guy and starting fresh. So there's not really a past perspective for all the hardcore comic book fans.
You can't get it wrong.
You know, you can't really get it wrong. You know? So I'm the first.
Yay.
So
That's great. I never thought of that. You can't get like that's awesome.
Yeah, which is nice. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
No offense.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Now there's a lot of television that's set in supernatural genre. What really sets this one apart from the other series that are out there?
None of them
Her
are
beautiful face.
Western.
Her beautiful face.
You're such a charmer. Yeah, well, none of them are westerns that I know of. Unless I just don't watch enough TV. But
There was Cowboy and Aliens, but that was like a movie or whatever.
right.
Not the same.
Yeah, I think that's the supernatural western element of it is, and that it borrows from real history. Yeah, I don't know of anything like it.
Yeah, and I think that one of the main things too is aside from actual story, the cast is brilliant. You know, we have such an amazing cast, and the connection and the relationships that we have on screen is so different from what you're going to see on television, and just the dynamic, especially my character, Agent Dawes, is you don't really see a guy like that on television, especially somebody who's young, from the Black Badge Division, and coming into this small town, a guy who's from a big city, and kind of having that fusion, which is really cool. So that's something that you guys look forward to.
And your character is so much more than you think.
100%.
You know, like there's some sweet, like you really get to take it somewhere as the season goes on. So you see him at first and you're like, oh, okay, I think I know who he is. And then you're like,
No.
Just kidding. Yeah.
So, is there any, because I know they put you two together and you said go on adventures. Is there any romantical stuff kind of happening?
On screen or off screen? No, I'm just joking. That was a joke.
I'll take either
That was a joke. But Mel and I are very good friends. When we first met, we kicked it off. But as for our characters, I'm just gonna have to watch, to be honest. I'm gonna keep it simple as that. You know, I'm not gonna say yes or no. I mean, you just gotta really.
Imagine somebody else said, and then we were the schmucks who didn't say anything.
I know. Oh, maybe. Do you think we should? I don't know. I like element of surprise, and I think when you watch the pilot, you're gonna have you're gonna think you have an understanding of what these two are gonna be like. Especially in the second episode, you're like, okay, great. We know what this is about with these two. But the beautiful thing is just seeing how much they grow apart, grow together. It's like a roller coaster ride with Earp and Dawes, and it's always going to be interesting, I think.
And because we have to have each other's backs.
100%.
Like, it's just that element of like we're such an odd couple, And I'm such a fuck up, and you're, can we say, I don't even know what I'm laughing about. Like, rules to this?
There's no rules.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just a mess, and you're just so together, and then that dynamic is hilarious. Like, especially, you haven't seen it yet, but the first 2 episodes, when you come in and you're just so dry, and it's just so funny, and just so, it's a cool dynamic.
I haven't seen it yet, so I wouldn't know. I just going based off of reading of the scripts. Yeah, a lot of the cast has seen that.
You got written out.
I did?
I don't know why they brought you.
Oh, no.
Why haven't you seen it? If everybody else has.
Oh, I haven't. I wasn't in town. That's all it was.
Okay.
I wasn't in town, yeah.
They
He
weren't hiding
was
it from you.
shooting other
Yeah, I'm
things.
shooting
He's
it.
very busy and important.
Can you talk a bit about the training for the gunslinging skills? Because it's a Western, right? So supernatural.
Great question.
We can expect a lot lot of that.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Are you good at handling weapons?
Yeah, well, Mel shoots a lot of guns in the show, as do I. But I was always into firearms and law enforcement and martial arts, so I had a bit of a background in that. But before we started shooting, they took us to the range and got to play with some of our different guns that we're gonna have on the show. My character uses a Glock 17, 9mm, standard, and then he uses a lot of other things like assault rifles, M16s, Uzis, that type of thing. He's very, very military savvy, so a lot of his weapons are big and cool. If you're a Call of Duty fan, you're gonna like those. I promise you that.
You, Melanie?
I look like I'm thinking, but I just burped and I'm trying to keep it in my mouth. So I'm like, good question. Good question.
Watch that 13 episodes just like that. That's what you're gonna be getting, guys. If you love that, wait till you watch Wynonna Earp.
I would totally watch that.
You guys are like kind of fused. You gotta live her some. That was a Wynonna Earp moment.
That was
for
such
sure.
a moment. Yes. No, she would let it out. She'd be like, anyway. No, okay. We did a bit of the great thing about my character is that Wynonna doesn't know anything. Like she doesn't want anything to do with. She certainly doesn't want anything to do with the law because she's always on the wrong side of it. So, and she, for reasons I won't discuss, she doesn't like guns very much. So at the beginning, she sucks. Like she has a terrible aim, and she's like, nope, I'm leaving town. This sucks. And so I had that gift as an actor of not having to be very good at anything, because as Wynonna gets better, so do I. You know, he at some point will perhaps train me. Did I say so? Look at my cup.
I'm sorry. Oh, no, you mentioned lots of fighting, lots of action, etc., etc. Did you guys get to do a lot of those stunts yourself? Is it something that you guys were in there, or did you just cut?
You didn't even have a stunt double.
No, I didn't actually. Which I found interesting, and I was scared half the time because people. Well, to be honest with you, keep it 100% real. Like I'd be reading these scripts sometimes, and it's like dolls. 20 chin-ups and, fighting 5 guys. And I'm like, who is this guy? Guys, I'm Shamier Anderson, okay? I can only do 1.5 push-ups.
No.
Anyway, so, yes, I did a lot of my own stunt, and it wasn't by choice.
You didn't even have.
You had stuff.
I had.
You did, yes. But you still did some of your own stuff as well. Some of the,
Yeah.
What was that? What do you call those things? The hoist things? Those things that put you in
Harness.
The harness, yeah, you did all the harness stuff.
Yeah, I did a lot. So what?
And that's hard.
The stuff that we would do, would that be hard for you? Because your body is like.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
You made it
like,
look seamless. I hated that stuff. She was
I
very
loved
good.
it. So I had a stunt double. Her name is Holly Rosenstein. I don't know what it's a hard name to say. She is like an 8-time world champion in karate.
Kick ass. Kick my ass.
She's terrifying, and she would I walked onto set, and she just the way she stood, I was like, oh, that's how Wynonna stands. Like she like can't not stand strong because she's so strong. Anyway, so she was my double, and she would do a lot of the stunts, and then I would go over and do them as well. And I think they would just sort of use whatever I did that sucked, they would just use her stuff. And then, but we would do it like that, which I really liked, was like overlapping, because then I just still could get into the rhythm of it. For most stuff, I was able to really do.
To be honest, Mel could do a lot. She just didn't want to get hurt. That's pretty much what it is. Mel's very capable and she's very good. It's an insurance thing.
And I did, guys. And I was injured for a bit, so I was scared to like make it worse. Yeah.
So let's talk production design. What are some of the sets and the props you guys were working with, and what was that like?
Okay, our crew was amazing.
Amazing. Calgary, Alberta. Those guys are awesome.
Those guys have no ego.
Incredible.
And they're just grateful for the work. So you'll be like, give me like a pig with a monocle riding a Harley, and they'll be like, yeah, let's figure that out. Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Fun fact: our crew worked with The Revenant, so a lot of those guys did The Revenant film with Leo. Some of them are Oscar nominated. Worked on R. We were so blessed to get those guys as well.
They worked on Fargo. They worked on just everything. That's amazing. But they have no ego. So anyway, so the sets that we would do was like, we did one was a bar, that was my favorite, was the bar where Wynonna Earp drank, and it's stunning, like the detail in it. There's copper, there's wood, there's animal heads, it's just so Western. And then don't hate me, I'm just and then the homestead. What was your favorite, actually? Because you didn't spend a lot of time.
So I spent a lot of time in the homestead, in the town. But what I thought was really cool is just a clear differentiation from Purgatory and the Earp's homestead. And then when Dolls came in, everything was very military, very city, you know, titanium, the guns,
Like
the
his
briefcases,
office.
my office, you know,
very different.
they really transformed, and you could definitely see these two different individuals come from two different worlds and
Yeah.
coming in. You can aesthetically, it was so appealing to the eye, and that's
Like
one thing.
Wynonna sleeps on a couch. She doesn't have a bed.
Yeah. And Dolls, does he sleep like on a kind of?
He sleeps on his desk.
He's on his desk. Dolls doesn't sleep. Okay?
Yeah, no, it's
Dolls doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
This guy's like superhuman. Spoiler alert, but you know, I'm just
Did
joking.
I answer your question? at
You
all?
did.
Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much. My goodness, is that it?
Thank you guys.
Thank you.